Good morning.
Well, good morning. Good morning. Woo! It's Sunday again. How about that?
Time is flying.
Oh my goodness. I was thinking that we are in July, the seventh month of the year, and the summer is going by, and we are here on our fourth show. I'm counting down like
Yeah.
one, two, three, and four. So I'm like, really, this is really a blessing. So we want to say good morning. Good morning to everyone that is listening on all of our various social media and radio outlets. We're glad to have you here. In case you don't know, this is Sacred Moments with Sacred Space Ministry. And my name is Reverend B. Michelle Horton. And I am so blessed to be here with the super duper producer. I love calling her that because she is exactly that. And her name is Khadija Phillips, alter ego. And you know what, alter ego, I wouldn't been meaning to ask you, what is the background to that alter ego? What's up with that tagline?
Because I'm an introvert, I'm turning into more of an ambivert now that I'm getting older. But in order for me to do the things that I do, I have to kind of take on a different persona. So being in front of the camera is always fearful for me. So
Yeah.
this is my alter ego, the podcast host, producer. Typically I like to fade in the background, but until we grow, in the beginning stages when everything is grassroots, I have to show up for myself. But soon you won't see me. I'll be in the background.
What? Oh my
Yes.
God. I have no idea what I'm going to do when that happens because I feel like having you here with me has been very, very comforting to me. So, seeing your face and knowing that you're right here next to me virtually,
Oh.
and on the radio has been really a blessing for me. I
Mm.
remember, I think it was Beyonce that had said something like she has this other person that
Yeah.
is on
Not
stage.
not like the kind of person that she has. I don't know about her person. I think her person
Yeah,
is
yeah.
something else. We talk about that on a different show. I think her person is an actual person. I'm just talking about person.
Oh,
I'm talking about personality.
wow. So you
Yeah, I
think her
don't know about
person
her
is
person.
another person?
Yeah, I think she done summon some stuff.
Now that's interesting to me because that is
Yeah.
definitely a possibility. I have a friend that said that like we all have these different personalities. Like back in the day, I used to argue with her about that because I'm like, no, you just who you are. But the more
Hmm.
I think about it, the more I'm like, you know what, you're absolutely right. I think inside of us, we
Hmm.
have different connections. So
Hmm.
um, yeah, I actually do believe that she was right about that, and I always talk to her about it. She's like, "I was right when I said it. It just took you a long time to get to know that I was
Right.
right." But yeah, so anyway, trying to share some stuff while I'm doing like multitasking here.
Hmm.
Not doing the best at it. So we greet you all that are out there in Radio Land and YouTube and social media. We are glad to be here, and we have a really I think we have a topic today that many of us think about from time to time and wonder about. And today's theme or topic is about love. And I think I posted um, somewhere on one of my social media sites, what's love got to do with it? Anybody? I don't know if you all remember that song by I think it was Tina Turner. What's love got to do with it? Um,
Hmm.
and that is such a intense question. We think about love, and I've learned that I wasn't always sure that I understood what love looked like as I've gotten more mature. Love in my teenage years looks completely different than love now. And I just think it's a great, great topic. And especially as we look at it from the perspective of faith and God's love. love, God's love for mankind and mankind's love for God and then for each other. You know, what does that really look like? And you know, today with everything going on in the world, it looks like there's a lack of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of my friends, Minister Reverend Cheryl Thomas, wrote on her page the song "What the World Needs Now Is Love, More Love," and I'm like, I think we have it. I just don't think that we really know how to use it. So I'm going to talk to our guest. We have a guest today, Reverend DERRICK Norton. He's going to come in and he's going to share with us and talk with us about love, and we're going to have a great conversation about that. So we're going to have him come on in, and then I am going to introduce him. Is he in the room? Is he in the room? Is he in the room?
Wow. Hey,
Ah,
good morning.
Good
good
morning.
morning. Good
Good morning.
morning. It's good to have you with us. Thank you for coming on. I'm trying to find your bio while I'm doing a million things at the same time. I want to introduce to my audience, Reverend DERRICK Norton. Um, he's a little younger than me. He sent me his bio, and
Uh-oh.
we're glad to have him here with us. He is the pastor of, I'm going to say, the entire New Beginnings evangel. Oh, I can't even talk this morning.
Evangelistic.
Evangelistic, man,
Yes.
I could not get that out. Outreach ministry, and that is in Norristown, Pennsylvania. How long have you been pastoring there?
We just celebrated mine. I'm in year 6. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah. Yeah. The Lord is
time
good.
goes by.
Yes, it does.
Wow, wow. Now, was pastoring something that you, when you got in the ministry, as we call, or got your call to the ministry, was that something that you knew that you were on your way to, or was it just a journey there?
Uh, it came in a little later on in my journey. You know, I think the focus was more on preaching than pastoring. And
Okay.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
that's, that part of the journey came about a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just sitting up under somebody, so it was the focus was more on preaching and teaching,
Okay.
than it was
Yeah.
actually pastoring.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge, my Lord, it's a challenge, and thank God
It
for the
is
challenge.
indeed.
Yeah,
It is indeed. I see you. So you are a native of Philadelphia, and
absolutely.
have a beautiful wife of how many years?
This year we're celebrating 20 years of marriage.
Wow.
Thank the Lord, 20 years.
Congra-
Right.
Congratulations. I'm trying to get through year 7.
All right, well, come on
So
then. You almost there. You almost there.
almost.
Oh man. I think I was married. I think it was close to 23 years, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
Well,
at the time it was like half my life. So yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so you have one divorcee, two married. So I'm gonna find out a lot about love today. Stuff that I might, need
All
to
right.
know.
Well, what time is it? I don't know if I'm on the clock yet for love from my wife. I don't even know where she
Wow. Well, I'm glad that you accepted the invitation to come on. And like we said, we wanted to talk a little bit about love, but we like to start off with some quirky questions, maybe
All
just to
right.
get to know you. If you were a potato, what kind of potato would you be? This is like really left field.
Oh man. Like do you mean like cooked or raw or if I was a
Choose your
potato,
potato, brother.
man, that's a good question. It's real quirky too. I guess I would be mashed potato.
Mashed potatoes.
I said I was
That's
married
funny.
20 years this year, so yeah, I'm mashed potatoes. Yeah,
Okay.
all seasoned up though. The butter, everything.
Yeah.
There we go. There you
Yeah,
go. So, morning or night?
morning, definitely morning.
I like to
Dog or
ask
cat?
people,
Go
dog
ahead,
or
alter
cat.
ego.
I was gonna say I like to ask people if you had a superpower, what would it be?
Oh man, invincibility, definitely.
Yeah, people always choose that
Mhm.
one.
Yeah, yeah. Come on through the dark. As you stand there like that.
Right?
Yeah, come on with it.
Oh man. Dog or cat?
Dog.
Mm.
But that's strange because I don't own a dog. I have a cat right now.
You
Really?
you know your cat's feeling some kind of way about what you just
Right?
said, right?
Yeah, he's staring at me as I say that. So he must know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I get it. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. But I
I
love
had
dogs.
one more, but it just popped out my head for some unknown reason. Oh my
No,
gosh.
Netflix or Hulu?
Neither PlayStation.
PlayStation. Okay.
Do they still have PlayStation?
What you
Still
playing on the PlayStation?
All the sports games.
Oh,
Because I
okay.
tell you, I had this one game uh, called Stranded Deep. I don't know if I can say the name if I'm giving plugs here, but it was like the movie Castaway.
Oh,
And
okay.
I had to stop playing it because I was sitting there sweating, like I was really stuck. Things like that. So I keep it to the sports games,
Mhm.
NBA 2K,
Mhm.
Madden, and
Okay.
the baseball games. That's primarily,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
wow. So when we when we talk about love, right? And also I want you to think about something. Because our radio show, possibly TV, since I said those words and
Come
coming
on here,
forward,
five star.
um, is our theme today is love. I want you to think about, and near the end, maybe answer this. And our show title is Sacred Moments. What sacred moment would you say? And just something to think about while we're talking. Comes to mind when you think about the word love? Because I've been thinking about that lately. I wrote a piece about a month ago that really gave me the theme for this Sacred Moments radio show. And
Mm-hmm.
it was a sacred moment that I felt like I had with God, and my nephew. And now it feels like it was also a love moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking about that this morning because it was so special and so sweet, and it's something that I'll remember that we share. It was my great nephew, in fact, that we'll share for the rest of our life. So I think that there are many sacred moments, but we
Mm-hmm.
don't always recognize them, and
Yeah.
sometimes till later. So I want you to think about, what moment may encapsulate that theme of love for you.
Okay.
But when we talk about love, what comes to mind for you, sir?
Just the different levels and maybe the way is entreated. I think we think of love as a feeling when it's so much more than just the way we feel. But
Hmm.
uh, I can't remember the name of the group, but there was a song called "Love Is a Verb." When you really know about true love, it has everything to do with action. So for me, love is even when you take time out of your day to listen to somebody that's struggling with something that needs to get it out verbally. You're not trying to answer them. You're not trying to find a fit for their life, but you're just listening to what they have to say. It's the
I
action.
love I love that you said that you're not trying to fix something.
Yeah.
I think that's so key, because we sometimes feel like love is we have to be the one to fix something and to get someone to understand something in that moment, when really love is exactly what you said. It is listening,
Yeah.
just being open to caring for that moment and that person in that moment, to hear them.
Absolutely. Because who are we to say that path that we're trying to fit, we're not supposed to take? Maybe that's the path that they have to take, to get to wherever they need to be in life. whether it's deliverance or healing. You know, we can't. We're not God, so we can't say. You know, uh, that we can save them from every obstacle, and especially for parents with your children. You know, oftentimes we deal with them with their hurt and things like that. We're trying to spare them or save them from the hurt, when that hurt might be the thing to get them to grow.
Mm.
You know, I
Does
mean,
that
think about it.
does that
You put
sound like tough love to you? Would you say that would be tough love, or is that like tough love is a little bit too flighty?
yeah, yeah, no, that's tough love. You know, it hurts to see them struggle, but and we want to try to fix it, but yet that struggle might bring them to where they need to be.
So would you say, are you saying that love is allowing people to go through some difficult times, like letting them stretch so that they can be better on the other end? So love is almost, love can be suffering sometimes too.
That's a part of it. That's a part of it. And not to say that we cause their suffering, you know, because uh, I just said that love is the action, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but the action we might take is to just simply step back and take our hands off the situation and just listen, you know, and we can be there to catch them if they fall, but, you know, ordering their steps is something that, you know, we might not have to do. Love will say, you know, just back up some.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's my question, Miss Michelle. This is for both
I
of
knew
you.
you
So,
had.
you know, I have it. I was going to wait till later, but since we were talking about children and tough love, a lot of people say, and I feel this way too sometimes, like when we're referencing the love of God and how He loves us as children, we see a lot of suffering, especially now with COVID. People are losing family members, people are out of work, and people are saying, where is God? He loves His people. How can He allow suffering? So can you just, talk about that a little bit, how God can let people that He loves suffer um, through just COVID? We don't have to talk about anything else, just with all the millions of people that have passed away during this time.
Okay, Reverend Horton, you want to answer that, or is that for me?
We can address it together, but I want to throw it to you because you are a guest.
Okay. Um, I truly believe that certain things happen to us, or God allows to happen to us, um, because of the way we are. I think I don't think He causes our suffering to hurt us, but to spurn us to more love.
Hmm.
Actually, because
Hmm.
if you look at the actual way that COVID has treated us, um, in some respect, it has brought us closer. You know, we were forced to stay home with our families. We were forced to uh, leave the job. Well, I continued working, but there were a lot of places that shut down, you know, and it kind of forced us to have that love exchange, you know, right there in our family. Now, in that, I think that there are some other things that still happen. You know, I think that gun violence is crazy. I think that in some respects, uh, social media can be really evil in the way that, you know, people hide behind a screen and give their opinions and not caring if it hurts or damages someone else. Uh, and I think that sometimes certain sufferings are the result of the way we act within ourselves.
Yeah, I think that it is attention for those of us that do have a faith in God and see the suffering that we are going through as humans. And it's very personal to me because of I'm not on the island by myself, but we've all of us in this space, and I'm sure listening, have all been affected in some way by some form of suffering, from death, destruction, divorce,
Hmm.
health issues. And yes, it is this tension. And I think that there's a rabbi, I think it's Rabbi Kushner wrote a book that said, why do bad things happen to good people? And then, that's going down rabbit hole. Who's good and who's not good, and who's the
Right, right.
standard of good, all
Absolutely.
of that. But for me, the love piece from God for me, and I've seen it in other people's lives, is the help that we get through, the
Hmm.
help that God gives us, the love that we receive during these horrible times of
Yeah,
suffering.
yeah,
That we have, you are going through this, but in many ways, God will send someone to minister to you, someone to love on you, give you relief through, all kinds of ways, whether it's a health issue, through medicine and the doctor, or holistically. So it's a tension. Um, I don't I don't see God sending evil and
right,
destruction. I see us doing that. And
right,
then
right, right.
God's love lifting us up out of that and through it.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And since we don't have the mind of God, I agree with everything that you're saying. And since we don't have the mind of God, it's hard for us to tell, like you said, who's good, who's bad, why this happens to certain people, why that happens to another. And I believe that the condition that we are in, we cause. But the love of God really helps us through it, you know, or helps us to it, however the case may be. And none of us have the mind of God. And it's really hard to answer that question, why bad things happen to good people. That's very, very difficult because it's hard to see who's good and who's bad, and I don't think that's up for us to determine because we only
Mhm.
determine it from what we receive, you know, we only
Yeah.
determine it
Yeah.
from what we receive. And
Yeah.
love is just spotted in so many uh, different avenues. Like I think it's love that we all have on like the same color today. You notice that? Well, alter
Yes.
ego got stripes, but it's still the same color.
Yep.
That's all. To me. That's love. Who told us? Who sent out the memo to wear blue?
We're connected.
Right. It's a connection. Exactly.
When was the
It's a
first
connection.
time, this question is for both of you, that you've experienced love, whether it be just, or you actually felt it, whether it be from family, children, spouse, or just like when you actually felt the presence and the love of God? Like, when is the first time that you can remember?
Wow,
Well,
what a question.
ladies first. Yeah, that's a good one. Ladies first, Rav. You got it.
Just kind of like thinking back on it, and I did not realize it at the time, but when I was a little girl, and I lived in the house with my mom, my uncle, my sister, my brother, um, small house. We were kind of all tightly there together. But I remember just now looking back, even as I got older, that house was filled with love. Like
Mm,
we were poor, we were really poor, but I remember that we sat at the dining room table together and we had meals together. I remember we had a cat named Mitten. I remembered my aunt always being in the kitchen cooking. My mom was doing domestic work. But I remember now thinking about this was a home of love. I knew we were poor because we only had like a few clothes, but there was this aura, maybe I'll say, or this essence, that it was we were happy children in the midst of what we didn't know was a bad poverty. Even
mm,
growing up on my block, 1200 block of South Ringo Street, little kids running outside in the summertime playing jacks and hopscotch and half ball and find a boy, kiss a boy, and all that kind of stuff, right? It felt like a community of love. Yeah, I said find a boy, kiss a boy. We did all kind of stuff, right?
Come on.
But that was a foundation for me of what love looked like in a
Yeah.
community, in
Yeah.
a family. And so and then finding out that it was founded on the love of God when I started going to Sunday school and stuff like that. That's always stuck with me. How about you, Rev?
I would have to go back to my childhood as well, and just being in the home, and uh, um, my parents were uh, very instrumental in being in where I am today. They opened up their home for Bible study and things like that, and I was trying to get out the house to go out and play, catch a girl, kiss a girl, and top in the street and football, with the fellas and things like that. And they'd be like, sit down, you know. So even though it seemed forced, because I have two brothers and a sister, and they weren't commanded the same thing. Like they would just run out the house. But I was told, listen, sit down. And I think it's because they saw something different in me than my brothers and my sister. So uh, that upbringing is where I saw a lot of love, experienced a lot of love from my parent. And my father was a very quiet gentleman. He didn't abuse the English language, but my mother was the boisterous, fun one. So they're they're different. Their difference in the way they act or their personalities. I'm sorry,
In
is
love language.
yeah. It exposed a lot of love to me. It exposed a lot of love to me because
Yeah.
although my father was quiet, he was a strong disciplinarian. You know, and so I mean, the man never cussed at us, never smoked or drank or anything. So his example was really strong in my life. And he left all the cussing and the whippings to my mother. Well, no, not the whippings, but the cussing and fussing and everything to my mother. I would rather been disciplined by my mother than my father. So that's where
Yeah.
I first learned a lot about love. A lot about love.
Belinda says, as a child, realizing how much my mom and dad loved me by keeping me safe and in the best schools, they always provided for me and showed love in so many ways. I just want to say that it's a blessing that the three of you have had that experience, because a lot of people don't feel love at home, and the first time they feel it is when they're out in the world and they meet somebody, or when they find God and they find love in that. So it's a blessing to be able to recognize it early on.
Mm,
Yeah. And I recognize too that one of and I'm going to say this is a gift that I didn't know or maybe recognize at the time because we were so poor and not having stuff. Like we didn't have a lot of
mm,
stuff. We had
mm,
minimum stuff. Like I had
mhm.
one doll,
Right,
like we had one phone, we had one TV, that kind of stuff. But looking back now, I wondered if we had so much stuff, would we have missed the love, that
mm,
interacting love, that sitting at the table, playing cards,
yeah,
playing checkers,
that's
that
right.
type of thing. Like you sometimes in our immaturity, we don't recognize what's right in front of us.
Right,
And
right,
for me, this is where I think God's love came in. I didn't see it and didn't appreciate it until I began to understand God and what God
that's right.
could, that type of love that Rev talked about earlier. And I really wanted to tap in on that because you said love was like action, right? It was a verb. It's like a doing. And so
That's
when
right.
we attach that to God, how do you see that happening?
Well, just consider what he's done. And I mean, I'm a preach later, but uh, right now, that the Lord gave his life so that we can be redeemed. But I think the misplacement of love too is in what you just said. Uh, Today, we associate love with stuff or what we can do. You know, like it's amazing that the branding of clothing, or how many televisions you have in your home, or what car you drive, or where you work, has been integrated with love. You know, some feel that if someone can't give them those things, that they don't love them, when that's just far from the truth. And it's that watering down of love that makes us miss the principle of love.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I
I,
love that terminology, that watering down. That's
yeah,
key, boy. That's hitting it right there.
yeah.
Um, I would push it even to say that we really don't know what it is. And alter ego, I think that's what happened with me. Like, I don't think I really understood it.
mhm,
Because I associated lust with love.
Mm,
Or if somebody said the right thing, or they, you know, uh,
come on.
uh,
That's right.
touch me in the right way,
Right.
that was love.
Yeah.
I recognize that, or if they gave me something, not
mhm,
not
Hmm.
not 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 understanding that they were giving me something so that they could get something from me.
mhm,
Yeah.
I love that fact that Rev said misplaced love. It was misplaced, but
Yeah.
also for me, it was I didn't really understand it. And
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you that, quite frankly, the first time I really think I began to understand it on a deep level was when I read and interpreted and meditated on First Corinthians chapter 13.
Mm.
That, to
Hmm.
me, like, I'm reading this and I'm like, oh, this is what it is. I'm going to let Rev talk a little bit about that if he like, and then I'm going to try to turn to it so I can read it.
Let me read this comment real quick from Romel. My grandmother's love for us, three grandkids that she cooked for every day, but Saturday after working Monday through Friday cleaning, not an office job, but we always had a home cooked meal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I love that too. Yes,
Wow.
I love
mm.
to eat, as you can see. I don't miss cooking. So,
I
Miss
like
Peel, I'm right there with you. Love is in that food. Glory. Mashed potatoes. Remember that.
mashed potatoes. And what you said about misplaced love, I want to I experienced that on two ends. Like with my kids, like I had my first child young. I was 19, and I just went hard working. I was still in school, and I was buying every toy in the toy aisle, but I was working all the time. And it wasn't until recently. My oldest son is 23. My daughter is going to be 20. They actually said to me like, "We had everything, but like you were never here." And I'm
Mm.
like, wow,
Question.
like, I thought that I was doing the right thing. And it took a while because at first I was kind of offended. Like, what? Do you know how tired I was going to
Mm.
work, trying to make sure that you had what you needed to make sure you can take the snacks on the school trip, make sure that when the book fair came around, you rolled up in there with $30 so that you can stunt
Right.
on everybody. In my mind, I'm like,
Right.
you
Yeah.
gotta be kidding me. Like I'm tired doing this for you. And they're looking at me like, well, but we never got time to spend with you. My mom was going on an actual trip with me. So it was like, I'm still fighting that now, honestly, because I actually get torn and have like a whole anxiety attack behind it because I'm like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Whole
Mm-hmm.
time the kids are like, but I just want you to watch, this movie with me. You know what I mean? I'm trying to buy the game. So I'm still learning that. And the same thing you said, Miss Michelle, about like thinking that lust, confusing the two, and people buying me things. At first, I'm like, well, my love language is, gifts. But I'm like, it's really not. I'm thinking that because you're buying me gifts that you love me. So that's probably not even really my love language. I just don't have love figured out, and I don't even know, what's going on. Romel said that was my dad. Yeah, so
Oh, wow.
my true person. This is Missy. My true personal experience with love is when we met two humans that I birthed for the first time. Yeah, the kids.
You
Yeah.
know, it's interesting in this misplacement of love that both of you have expressed here recently. There was something that I was taught. I'm gonna just take these real quick, and I'll digress so you can finish the conversation.
Go
But
ahead.
I went to a conference years ago, more than 20, probably more than 30. But it was Bill Goddard. He used to be at the Civic Center, and there were a couple things in the material that he gave. And the one thing that has always stuck with me is how you can identify true love.
Hmm.
Love can't wait to give, but
Mm,
lust can't wait to get.
mm,
Love can't wait to give, but lust can't wait to get. And there's three aspects of love, So we're right in expressing that, when somebody would touch us or kiss us, the way it would make us feel, that's the eroticism. That's an
Yeah.
aspect of love. Then there's the phileo. That's my homeboy, my ace, my A1, my day one, my ace boom coon. That's a type of love too. But then there's the agape love, the unconditional love. And it wasn't until I experienced the agape love that I really understood what love is all about.
Yes.
Yeah,
mm.
yeah. And that
That's
can
how
only
I
come
feel.
from God. Yeah. That
I
can,
had
that can only come from above. Yeah.
I
Right.
had a friend, and he's not he's more spiritual than religious, but he kind of brought it to my attention like, girl, you're toxic. Like, that's not love. Like, because I'm sitting here like, if you don't buy me things, then like we can't be together, because he's my friend. So I'm talking to him like this with my frustrations, and he's like, girl, that's toxic. He actually has a book. I'm just gonna plug his book real quick, The Love
Oh, is it
Unsaid.
Omar?
Yep. And he
Oh,
we
wow.
was
Yes.
yeah, he was like, that's not what love is. Um so I just want to, tell you guys to get that book, and I'm sure somebody, I'm not the only one. Um it's just deep to come into understanding about things that you were so adamant on for so long. Like I said, my kids felt like that all this time, and I never even noticed. So
Yeah.
check out
And
this
a lot of
book.
times, like, like I found out later on, and like your kids are like, you look back and then you begin to have a better understanding of certain things. But love
Mhm.
also says that although we might not have got it right, right? So I'm still going to love you because we still have time to get it right. We have time to,
That's
to
right.
begin. Love is like a begin. You can begin again with love.
That's
You
right.
can put all of that stuff. That's what Job did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Job, he came through, hell, as we were talking about. It didn't look like God loved him because look what God, allowed to happen in his life. But
That's
at
right.
the end of it, he says, look, I thought I knew you, with the hearing of my ears, but now I see you. And the seeing is,
Yeah.
I see that's love. I see how you love me,
That's right.
and I love what Alter Ego said, because I think what we're helping, hopefully we're helping the audience to do, as well as it's helping us, is to take another look at what real love is. And Rev, you said it great. If it doesn't start with God, then it
That's right.
really, all of it is not, all of it underneath that is not going to be true love. It's going to be something less than, or
Absolutely.
or um or a fraudulent,
Mhm.
appearance of love. It has
That's
to
right.
begin with God,
That's right. That's right. That's right.
because God is love,
He is love. He is the very essence of love.
the
That's
very
right.
essence of love. Yes,
Yeah. And
yes,
just to
yes.
piggyback on what you said, Job also restored three of his friends who wasn't loving towards him. God used him.
I
Remember,
love
Job
it.
had to pray for them guys in
Yeah,
order for
yeah,
them to have the right relationship with God, you
yeah.
know. And Job received double, I believe, for what he had
Um,
lost.
really more, I think. Yeah,
Yeah, he received
yeah,
double of what he had lost. So
yeah,
um,
yeah.
that's what love done. Love can't wait to give.
So
But
so I would, as we, oh, you want to read what Crystal says?
Crystal Irvin said, "My life coach helped me understand that I am worthy of real love. I had been accepting toxic love because that was what I was taught and seen." Mm.
Mm,
Mm. And see, that's another thing, right? We emulate sometimes what we see. And so we have to, what are we looking at?
mm,
What examples are we taking into our own self to think that this is the way it is? And if we look at social media, as Rev said, magazines, TV shows, especially for women, we have whole TV channels about what love looks like. Lifetime will tell you love is going to end with somebody being killed because somebody cheated on somebody.
oh my,
And Hallmark will tell you that you can just tiptoe to the tulips and meet your prince, and you're gonna ride off on a white horse.
I know that's
We inundated with these false realities,
right.
thinking
Mhm,
that they're real.
that's
Where's our
right.
standard at? Our standard has to be the Lord. It has to be God. And so I want to encourage, as we, as my friend Pastor Holder says, as we draw to our close, I want to encourage us to look at 1 Corinthians 13. For me, it really, really centers me when I start thinking about what love looks like. And the scripture reads that what love is and what love isn't. It's long. It's love is kind. It doesn't envy. It doesn't boast itself up. It doesn't behave, as it says, unseemingly.
Yeah,
Love doesn't just seek its own. Love is not easily provoked.
that's right.
Love doesn't, contemplate evil thoughts. And
Yeah,
love doesn't rejoice in somebody's falling, but it rejoices in truth. Love bears all things, it believes all things, hopes all things. And when he's saying all things, he's talking about like all things holy and divine and lovely. And so as I read that, I use that now when somebody tells me, I love you. I'm like, I don't see none of these things here. You
that's
say
right.
you love me, but you're hitting me, or you love me and
I
you're
know that's
cussing me out. You love me and you withholding from me.
yeah.
You know, where's my standard at? What do you say about that, Rev?
Well, ladies, that's true. He can buy you them diamond earrings, but go upside your head every day. That's not love,
That's
you
right.
know. And
That's
and I
right.
think we have to have some type of way to move beyond just what our flesh can receive as love. And if we really get the true principles of what love is all about, I think we'll be able to execute it a little better in our lives. We'll be able to
Yeah.
identify it, as you said, as it's coming toward us,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
love can't wait to give, but lust can't wait to get, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
we are with people that uh, always want to receive from us but can't give us anything, and I'm not talking about anything material,
Yes.
you know, but
Time.
time. You know, in that 1 Corinthians 13, there's another word, patient. You know,
Patience.
which is
Right.
why because the Lord is still being patient with me because I ain't all the way there yet.
Me too.
You
Me
know,
too.
I can't speak for anybody else, but love is that patience
Yeah.
that we experience from people because people quick to toss you away because you don't
Hmm.
fit their mold of what love should be.
Exactly.
And so
Exactly.
they're quick to
Switch you
start.
out. Switch
Yes,
you out. Like you a used car, you're gonna go get a new one.
I'll go get a new one. And then that quote unquote toxic activity just continues in our lives.
Yeah.
So we have to be able to identify it, to get to that
Yeah.
sacred space, so that we can
That's
love
right.
properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're in with, if you thought of maybe that time or that moment that was a sacred moment for you when it came to love. Did you kind of think of anything about that?
Yeah. I had. And years ago I was working for Pico at the generating station out in Troy, and they had a large area and I would take my lunch break on this large area, this wooded, field, and I would just sit there And usually, I had my Bible with me, do some reading and some meditation and things like that. I had watched a program where Oprah was interviewing Maya Angelou.
Yeah.
She was speaking of the time that she understood that God loved her. And
Hmm.
while I was on my break there at Pico, that thing hit me. The knowledge that God loved me hit me. And it's helped my walk since that time. And I was very early in the ministry. It was very early in my ministry. And uh, I really understood that the Lord loved me. And it was overwhelming. It was overwhelming that the person that separated land from sea, that said, "Let there be light," loved me, little old me from Southwest Philadelphia. He loved
That's
me, and it impacted my life. It created the sacred space. If I say that more money, if I say that enough times, do I get money? Sacred space. You know, I'm just
I'll
kidding.
send you a
But
couple coins, and they will be coins.
I know, I know that's
Oh
right.
man.
But yeah, when you finally get it that the Lord loves you and is seen in your life, because forgiveness and peace. Because the one thing that I know for every night, I lay my head on that pillow, I get sound sleep. I'm not one to sit up on the side of the bed worrying about what tomorrow holds or what happened in the past or yesterday. So that's all gifts that come from God, and that's because of the love that He had
Yeah.
for me. The love to send His Son to die in my stead for sins that I committed
Yeah.
and to wash me clean. That overwhelmed my heart. That was the time I really understood what love was all about.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Um, so our encouragement is for the audience to maybe go back and revisit 1 Corinthians 13 so you can kind of see, is this love or isn't love, not just for somebody giving it to you, but you giving it to someone else, so that
Yeah.
we can know, that we're in that path. And there was a pastor that said something that really touched my heart once. I keep it close to myself because I mess up a lot. And it says, and he said this: there's nothing that we ever did to make God love us, but there's nothing that we can do that make God stop. Let me
That's
say
right.
that again. There's nothing that you can do that you've done to make
Hmm.
God love you. And there's surely
Hmm.
nothing you can do to make God stop.
That's right.
So I pray that this broadcast has been a blessing to you as it has been to me. I want to thank Reverend Derrick Norton from New Beginnings I don't know why I can't say this word.
Amen.
Evangelistic Outreach Ministry um, in Norristown, Pennsylvania, to come on this morning and share with this audience. And I am encouraged this morning and enlightened. And I pray that you will too. If you know somebody that is struggling with what love is, please like and share this on your social media platforms. And we look forward to seeing you again Friday evening at Sacred Space Ministry at 6:30 p.m. And also next Sunday at 9 a.m. We'll be back with more conversation. May the
Awesome.
love of God and God's peace be with you today and always. And may you grow deep, wide, high, and long in the knowledge and love of God. Thank you, Reverend Horton, Reverend
Thank
Horton,
you.
Reverend Norton. Thank you,
Sure.
Alter Ego.
Thanks
And
for
it is
coming
a
on.
wrap. Peace and blessings.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
God bless.
Thanks for coming. God bless.